evening, and thank you. I have the honor of introducing Daysia Torres tonight, but I just want to first say that I introduced most of the men at that table and a couple of the mathematicians at that table. I'm a math educator from many years. I'm introducing Daysia, who had the benefit of having an amazing a woman engineering teacher in her high school in Sanger, California. Daysia's father came from Mexico. She has 3 brothers. She has just blossomed. She took engineering and tech at Sanger High School, and she said that her teacher also taught them how to communicate and collaborate and make presentations in an engineering class. She also had AP Econ in her senior year, and she's now at UCSD, San Diego. She's majoring in economics. And I said, not engineering? She said, no, economics. And she maybe will tell you about that. She works at the Early Childhood Education Center. She's in a group called WAMI, which is Women and Minorities in Economics. And she's a delightful young woman, Daysia Torres.
Yeah, so that was a big question mark. Why is she doing economics? Yeah. But it was something that I was interested in, and a lot of the things that Jarvis taught me are applicable to it, right? So the economics department under UCSD is also recognized as STEM. So following in her example, I'm still a woman in STEM. Yeah. Yeah. So I was a student of Mrs. Jarvis for 4 years in her engineering classroom. I was part of her first cohort of students. So basically, we were selected by a random raffle. And in that classroom, there were 4 females. And she picked any chance she got to isolate us, pick us out, make us speak up. Yeah. So I feel really fortunate to have been in that first class that she got, because she really has impacted the way that I view myself and the value of my voice, which I will go on to talk about. Okay. See, when I met Miss Jarvis, I was a really shy student. I know every teacher knows that student that sits in the back of the class, doesn't really answer. That was me. I would have rather let other people take credit for my answers than to speak up for myself. And I think she noticed this, because one day she was walking around and she stops at my desk and she tells me to stop letting the boys steal my answers. Yeah. Yeah. So she's helped me and other students gain the confidence to become student leaders, whereas we may not have otherwise. She did this by expressing that our voices were important and that they deserve to be heard. Yeah. So this lesson has been one that I've carried with me into other student leadership positions, both in high school and into college. Yeah. See, the value of my voice has been especially valuable in classes where we discuss like general topics such as diversity, and I sometimes am the only like Latina or Hispanic woman in the room. Yeah. Yeah, so at times people will express like false preconceptions about immigration and immigrant communities, and if I had never had Ms. Jarvis, I probably would never have had the courage to speak against it and kind of refute them. Okay. Yeah, so it gives me the courage to speak up about communities and people from communities like mine. But it hasn't only been myself that she's impacted. I've seen the way that she's impacted other students. There's one student in particular who was the president of her engineering club. And as his peer, I've been able to see the way that she's changed the way that he thinks about school. He didn't really seem to have any interest in it, but by the time our 3rd and 4th year rolled around, he was always in her classroom every day at lunch, working on something because he was just so excited. And her drive to get this program started and to impact the students is what caused that change in him and a lot of other students like us. Yeah. She never let us say that we couldn't do something. She always told us that we were very capable And she always made sure that we got our work done by being there whenever she could, after school, during her lunches. It didn't matter. I'm not sure when she ate, but she was there. Yeah, but she changed a lot of our attitudes towards school and towards ourselves. Let's see. She also taught me a new meaning to the word ambition. So sometimes it's used negatively, sometimes it's used positively, but she has a very extreme ambition, not just towards starting our program, but because of all the outreach she does in the community and trying to expand all the STEM programs within our district. Yeah, so she created a few programs at the middle school so that children could have a further background in engineering before they get to high school. Yeah. Yeah, but she's also, okay. So our mentor, I'm sorry, this is long. Yeah, but she's not only mentored me by what she tells me and what she's instructed, but also by the example that she leads. So she is a former Latina engineer and also became a math teacher, so still within that STEM realm. And I remember one time we took a class field trip to the Gap, and or like their warehouse. Okay. Yeah, no, not that time. Yeah, and so someone was giving the tour, and they weren't even an engineer, and they kept simplifying things to her very strongly. And I think a lot of and she's explained to me that when she was an engineer, people would assume that she was working as like a custodian because of her accent or like because she's Puerto Rican. And so he kept talking and explaining things to her, and she stopped him, and she's like, actually, I was an engineer for like over a decade. Yeah, that shut him right up, yeah. But yeah, so, yeah, in my first year of college, we watched this TED Talk in one of my classes about overcoming adversity and kind of the beauty of it. And I think that's something that I already learned from Mrs. Jarvis in the way that she teaches us that the resilience that it gives us is really beautiful. And she teaches that not only with her words, but by her actions. And so that's why it's such a pleasure to have nominated her for this award.
See, she bossed me around too. You learn well. Hi, everybody. Good evening. This is very nerve-wracking. And so she said that I have a lot of courage, but when I'm in here in front of all you guys, I'm like very shy, believe it or not. After all that, I am. But I want to thank Mr. Tim Allen for taking the time to go to my classroom and learn so much about what I do. And I never forget when you came and the way you present yourself, you introduce yourself, said, okay, hi, Carmen, I'm Tim Allen. And I want you to know that I know more about yourself than yourself. So I'm like, oh, wow, So right there and then I said, there's no way I'm going to be selected. I also want to thank the past nominees for putting this event together, because today I was sharing this with my family and my coworkers that the events this morning were so inspirational, and the people that I have met are so above and beyond what I do, that I feel like Melissa is like, there's no way that, yeah, right? So, but it was very inspirational, very contagious, and very rich in knowledge, and that I can't wait to work with all of you. So thank you for that, and thank you for putting this event together. I want to thank the Carlston Foundation board for selecting me. I mean, again, this is such an elite group, and I'm humble and super honored to be part of it and to have the opportunity to work with all of you guys. And I'm really looking forward to that, and sign me in for that TLA. I'm doing it. I work in Sanger Unified School District, a very small town, but our school district is very rich in teamwork and collaboration. And with that, I'm very well represented today with my leadership team, which is Mrs. Adela Jones, our superintendent, Mrs. Kirsten Coronado, our Sanger High School principal, and Mr. Matt Canady, our assistant principal for Sanger High School. They are the reason why I'm here today, honestly, because they have given me the power to take charge, and they encourage my leadership. They let me work, they let me be, and they let me change the life for my students. They give me the resources, and they support me. Even when I come out crazy, I wanted to do this, yeah. Every year, I make a goal to bring 2 new things to the pathway and to change my students' lives some way, somehow, bringing 2 new things. So imagine, the pathway's been going on since 2014, and 2 new things every year. I drive people crazy. But I look for that, and I look for changes and opportunities for my student. I want to thank my family. My husband, that is the backbone. I spend a lot of hours in my classroom, and he picks up all the pieces that I leave behind. And my kids, my sons, my daughter-in-law, my son Daniel, my son Roberto, my son Aiden, and my daughter-in-law Justine, they have sacrificed my time because I'm not with them. And to that, I thank you very much. And like Melissa, I call my students my kids, and they encourage me to share my time with them because they know how it can make a difference to my students. So thank you very much. I hope that you get inspired. Well, Daysia, to my student, Daysia, thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for giving me the ability to teach you. Like Daysia said, the pathway, she was in a lottery program. But what they didn't know is I won the lottery that year. I won the lottery to be able to teach my passion, engineering, and to share that and encourage my students to reach higher, to reach for the stars, because that's really what is important in our youth, to build confidence and to know they can, no matter the circumstances and their background they come from. As you see, I'm Puerto Rican, and I have a huge accent. And people, like Daysia said, sometimes they feel that I'm not too smart, and because of the way I sound. And this program has given me the opportunity to show my students that doesn't matter your race, your color, your background, or your accent, you can be whatever you can be. Thank you, Daysia. I will never forget, and forever, you are my kid. Thank you, everybody.